Hi, Cleopatra. Okay, first of all, you guys need help ASAP. I'm not a doctor, but I've been through the ropes. You need an ear, nose, and throat immediately. ENT. Why? You have an NGT placement. My first question would be, is he allergic to the equipment? Could be. He's going in, he's out of that. Does he have any kind of obstructions? He could have polyps, he could have deviated septums. There's so much infections that can go on there, because I'm telling you right now, in part of the life functions, which are obviously your most obvious, and you can't bypass, if you have life function issues, you can't develop. So breathing, heart, balance are your three main life functions that I discuss and teach about. His breath swallow ratio is off. Does he have laryngomalacia? You'll have to go in and scoped, but is the NG tube honestly going on the valve? And he's breathing. He's gasping, back arching for life. I'd be very, very careful until you see a doctor that's going to listen to you to look at him. I would be very careful about propping him, because even in certain positions that you think are okay, if his body, again, because what do we do when we're drowning? We back arch. We want to open up this esophagus. We want to open it up. He's doing this for life preservation. He's not doing it because of cognitive impairment. His back arching is some cases looked at it with cerebral palsy. I'm really more concerned he's doing it for self-preservation. And again, we're not going to, if we stop breathing, we can't be here. So anything that our nervous system says, we're going to go for that. So is the NG tube, again, creating complications that the valves can't work to go from a swallow to a breath? In my humble opinion, the question would also be, do we need to rush a G tube ASAP? I know a lot of people don't want a peg in the stomach. I can't even imagine what he's going through with his back arching. It needs to be resolved. Do not think twice about going back to the ER and going back into the hospital. I know it's the last place you want to be, but it's the only place where you're going to get immediate service. And if that's what it needs to be, and that's what it needs to be. We don't like to bother hospital people. We like to go things the right way. You don't have time for that. You're dealing with a baby. I would also suggest my swallow course, my head swallow course. Please, again, be very careful about the propping, but he's fighting for his life, and needs to be listened to. This is not, he's developmentally delayed. He's going to become it, being in this position, but right now he needs medical help ASAP. What I would be doing too is again, you know how you call the hospital, the doctor's office. If this is a medical emergency, call 911. What I would do is find an ear, nose, and throat today. I would be going right back into your pediatrician. I wouldn't even have an appointment. I would just be going in and saying, this is my kid. We need ear, nose, and throat. Either he's calling a buddy up, or you get a stat, any kind of reference that you have, or you're going through insurance to ear, nose, and throat, pediatrics. I literally I'd call the office manager, not to the front desk. I'd say, listen, I've got an emergency, please, and you need to go in tomorrow. Fortunately, with these kind of specialists, they're not waiting for you. You know what I mean? Like it's very hard sometimes to get a next day or within the same month appointment. Sometimes you have to wait 3 months. We're not waiting 3 months, right? And so forth too. The first course you want to do also is the breathing course, just to settle him down. He's losing his absolute horizon. He's losing his ability to lie down. And that is regression, right? He's self-preservation, but at the same time too, at his stage, it's also regression. And I say this lovingly and sincerely, not like to freak you out, but you're not going to get the help you need unless you find it. I've been through this. You're not going to get the help you need unless you find it. I'm sorry that the system released this child in this condition. But again, that's what a hospital's for. As long as you got the NG tube and he's eating, it's not that they don't care. They're not there. Hospital's not there for development. And that's how they just look at it. Oh, it's a CP kid. He's back arching, whatever. I don't believe that that's the case. You don't have it, especially with the NG tube placement and so forth. The peg can always come out if that bothers you. It's my worst regret as a parent. And I mean this with all sincerity. Despite Graham's successes, I am so sad, mortified. My kid never had a G tube. He lives off of pizza and chicken and that's it. Chicken tenders, Chick-fil-A. That's it. And I wish I could pop the tank for the drugs, for the medication, for the spinach. You know, I didn't have that luxury of getting my son stabilized. Again, I'm saying this as a mom. You need help. You need help yesterday. You know, when people are saying stuff, it looks like a seizure. I get it that it would look like one. The only one that can rule that out, by the way, is not by just observation. Your child should have had an EEG. If the EEG says that's not a seizure-based activity, that's the only way. I don't care. You can have the best neurologist in town. They can't tell if it's a seizure or not unless it's under an EEG. So please, again, no more. Someone better be manually assessing your child. Ear, nose, and throat can in-office scope. They can work with a gastro if it needs to be, because he could have adenoids and a deviated septum, and then he's got an NG tube in there, and he's just like going, I can't breathe, because the NG tube is placed in the sinus that doesn't have the deviated septum, and the other one's clogged, you know, and he's just gasping. No, he needs help yesterday, and this I would consider as a medical emergency. First, we have to stabilize him. I'm right behind you with the development, and that can happen, but I'm telling you, from my son is about to have his 29th surgery. I've been through it. You're not getting the help you need. You need it yesterday. And I can't stress that enough. Facebook is wonderful, but right now you need to be in front of a doctor. And I mean by tomorrow morning. This is not fair to you. It's not fair to your son. And I get it that they're not used to dealing with someone like that, but this is what I would look at. Ear, nose, and throat would be my stat. You can do gastro, but they're not going to look at the nasal cavity. I have a feeling the NG tube somehow is really just throwing him off, and he's literally, he can't yank it out. So he's just like, what position can I be in that this thing is not bothering me? It's not sensory. This is, again, is he allergic, which I've seen happen, you know, and you can be allergic to anything. So just because they've placed it and it's medical equipment, he could be allergic to it. And it could be swelling, you know, all of that. It could be a nasal polyp. It can be enlarged adenoids, deviated septums, immature nasal cavities. Again, laryngomalacia would be my first rule out. Those are an office scope that they can be done. If someone says you're going back in the hospital, you just pack your bags and go. Again, I get it. He doesn't have a fever and whatever, but this can't continue. And I hope this helps you. And like I said, let's stabilize him, and then we'll start working on we'll just rock and roll on his development. But you need help. Thanks.